Hello, my name is Natalie Shapira, and in this presentation I'm going to talk about Hebrew psychological lexicons. This work is the fruit of collaboration between computer science and psychology departments, and the joint work of a variety of researchers, both from Psychotherapy Research Lab and Natural Language Processing Lab, and involve domain expertise from clinical psychology and machine learning software engineering. The outline of this talk, we start first with motivation, then introduce large set of Hebrew psychological lexicons, then I will mention challenges in creating and validating lexicon, and finally describe the emotional variety lexicon construction process. And we start with motivation. Why do we need lexicons? A lexicon is a vocabulary of a domain of knowledge and can be a valuable tool in the analysis of many psychological tasks. For example, in detecting clients' mental state, emotions, and symptoms. Lexicons are especially advantaged when data is scarce. Often in psychotherapy research, few samples are available in clinical trials, and confidentiality limits sharing of data across studies. Recent data-hungry models are not practical in such cases where data is small, while other approaches applying the use of lexicons are more effective for predictive abilities. Moreover, lexicons can be shared across studies and serve as clinical markers. Additionally, through their simplicity, lexicons enable easy interpretation of results widely used in research and industry due to their proven effectiveness and easy to use. And now I will introduce you with our large set of Hebrew lexicons. In this work, we created 8 collections of lexicons and word lists. Those collections included Valence collection with 2 lexicons, positive and negative, including total 200 words type. Emotional variety with 42 lexicons, such as sad, anger, trust, and more. Paralinguistic events such as joy, crying, body sounds, and more. Depressive characteristics such as tentativeness, self-reference, and more. Well-being with 2 lexicons, clinical and non-clinical. Conversational topics like family, work, drinking, and more. And there are 2 additional collections under construction, Hebrew Look and Extended Emotional Variety. Those lexicons are freely available. In today's talk, I'm going to describe the Emotional Variety lexicon with 42 lexicons, and the rest are described in the paper. The different collections constructed through a variety of methods, expert knowledge-based lexicons, data-driven lists, supervised and unsupervised, and the combination of expert knowledge and automatic methods, translation and expansion. The emotional variety collection that we will present later on is an expert knowledge-based. In the construction process, we treated validity and reliability through coverage, domain expert verification, and research use cases such as finding correlation between our lexicons and self-report questionnaires of outcome, mood, and raptures. Before drilling down to the emotional variety lexicon, I want to emphasize the challenges in creating and validating lexicons. In Hebrew, we have no valid version of psychological lexicons. One can say, okay, but we have in English, so we can translate it. In the following slide, I will try to explain the problems with such approach by giving one problematic example. The paper discusses additional problems. So in Hebrew, like in other Semitic and Indo-European languages, we have verb inflections. In this example, encoded in the word also the person, gender, and number. In Hebrew, we also have morphemes and clitics. For example, in one word, we can express and when the love. And this problem could be addressed by converting each word in the lexicon to its lemma, and then using an existing list to expand to the various linguistic conjugations. In Hebrew, it is possible to retrieve all the different inflection and verbs conjugations for many words using specialized linguistic lexicons. Even so, it is not always the case that all forms of a word should be included. For example, while the word achla is in the positive emotion lexicon, without the acritics, the optional base forms are also ichel, chila, chala, that having different emotional polarity. Then each of those words is also expanded with all their inflections, adding up to hundreds of words to the wrong lexicon. And now I will present the emotional variety lexicon construction process. Our lexicon relies on a base dataset of a total of 872 psychotherapy session transcripts from 74 different client therapist dyad, consisting of a total of about 5 million tokens. All sessions are labeled with psychological analysis information. Our motive for developing these emotional lexicons stems from a basic notion in psychotherapy research, the ability to be in touch with emotional experience, to portray them in words and to give them meaning as a result of treatment has been found to effectively predict improvements in mental well-being. The development of emotional lexicons was carried out in several stages. We first compiled a list of emotions on the basis of POM's emotion questionnaires, Robert Plutchik's Wheel of Emotion, and emotion described in On Guitar. The list included 21 emotions. For each of the emotion, we created another category that is the complement of that emotion, for example, not sad as the complement of sad, hence resulting in a total of 42 categories. The main purpose of the for categorizing complement emotions is to enable more precise word categorization. An additional important motive is to the long-term thought for allowing automatic expansion of this lexicon seed using semantic-based methods. In this figure, we show that a projection of a list of positive and negative emotion words embeddings. While most words indeed separate to two different clusters, the cluster intersects considerably. Having an emotion complementary lexicon can be advantageous for finding new words for that emotion by providing indicators for what might not categorize to that emotion. In the second stage, 19 advanced undergraduate psychology students freely suggested words for each category. In parallel, 5,000 words, most frequent words within our base dataset, were scanned in order to find more emotion words. Both lists were merged and scanned by majority of 3 judges. We are currently working on automatic seed expansion algorithm and also studying the correlation between the emotion state of the client by using our lexicons and the emotion of the client as self-reported at the end of the session. To conclude, we talked about why do we need lexicons, that lexicons are important for psychotherapy research as they enable interpretable prediction abilities and serve as clinical markers across studies. We talked about the challenges of creating and validating lexicons because languages behave differently and morphology makes things harder. We introduced with Hebrew psychological lexicons 8 collections of lexicons and word lists, and go through the story of the emotional variety lexicon construction. We hope that this work will inspire the creation of additional lexicon in Hebrew and in other languages and will enable high quality and cross-lingual research. Thank you, and if you have any question, you are more than welcome to send an email.